for me, I think that the highlights that this show has had, one common thread I've noticed about Hashgraph Enthusiasts is like the high points of the show happen when I'm having a conversation with someone that's kind of unprompted, right? That hasn't been planned, hasn't been organized. Someone will kind of come by and start having an off the cuff conversation. And like, I kind of want to see what I can do with the show to spend as much time in that kind of zone as possible. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I'm coming from. Like I'm realizing there's some spaces or kind of environments that get created when you do live content that you just don't get when you're doing kind of pre-recorded stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I got to hop in like 2 minutes, by the way. I think the one thing that I have tried to change recently is not putting so much work into like prepping for
Thank
space.
you.
If that makes sense.
Thank you for saying that.
And like, because I used to literally be, even with like the whole team internally and everybody else, I used to be like, look, I can't be bothered for like up to an hour and a half before a space because I'm doing research and I want to make sure I write down all the questions and I want to have everything planned out. And I've found like, and this was probably more of a recent change, like past 2 months. As long as I know a little bit about everybody and not write everything down and it's not scripted, but just like have everything down that I want to ask and all this stuff, I'm getting a lot more value just from kind of letting the conversation flow naturally. Yes. And I feel like it goes better that way anyways.
Yeah. Like I'm coming from, and thank you so much for saying that because I'm kind of in the same boat. And for me, I just feel the direction of the show heading into a place where it's like, why sit here and talk about a new update from Dovu or whatever? And like, why not just have them stop by and ask them about it? You know what I mean? In a very kind of informal way where it's not like an official, the guests this week are this person and that person and this person. It's like, kind of like there's some stuff happening in the ecosystem and it's about kind of these people. Maybe some of them will stop by, we'll talk about it. And I agree with you 100% in those moments is like when the most fascinating information is. Like, I'm learning more and more, like, the job of folks like you and I are to ask the dumb questions. And like, how can we do that if we like spend so much time obsessing over all the details? We kind of lose that balancing act a little bit, that excitement.
Well, and it makes it impossible to try to get into to try to host more things like this or have more discussions if you're spending so much time putting one discussion together. And I mean, we still do it. Like I intentionally, and I haven't done it over the past, couple of weeks, like haven't had really like a big cross chain space, but those things take a ton of work behind the scenes to put on. But like you said, it's a really good idea. We've thought about this before where it's like, look, here's a time. And this is when the, Hashgraph news and rumors or whatever, however you're branding it now, like this is when the time and date is. And it's like, if you have new initiatives in this space, almost putting out a call to action to just be like, plan around this show. And it's like, you're going to release this in a blog post anyways. Why not come on and talk about it the day after, the same day, and like really kind of have a comprehensive, like hitting announcement where it's not just written. You can come on and talk about it with the community. I do think it's a give and take where like, it's nice to have a little bit of time in advance because then it makes the community aware of what's going to happen. But there's a way to overkill that too and just spend way too much time doing planning and not enough time doing content. As well as I do, if you're planning shit behind the scenes, nobody sees it and nobody sees the value there. So it's like you always have to have that battle of actually delivering content versus planning behind the scenes to deliver content because nobody sees the shit that happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.